Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Just ahead of Jeff Paterson in Hawaii. All of our guests today are brought to you by the Alberni Power and Marine RPM Group. Did they have a Hawaii division? We'll look into that. Located in Port Alberni. Alberni Power and Marine is one of Vancouver Island's most trusted boat dealerships. This is a crazy, catchy song. Oh, the largest Mercury Marine dealership in Canada. Their service team just won for the fourth straight year a CSI score above the national average. Make your appointment today for the 2022 boating season at albernipowermarine.com. He just got finished watching a luau. It's Jeff Paterson from Stecher and Price and the Rink-wide podcast. Jeff, how are you? Aloha, all of that?
Yeah, hi guys. I'm doing well. Dolly, I'm a little upset though. I mean, I come all the way to Hawaii, and the best you could do is a plain blue golf shirt for me today.
Where's your Hawaiian shirt, and why are you not on the beach?
Where's the background, Jeff? This is very disappointing.
You look like you're at a Best Western in Mission. Like, what the heck?
Well, you would know. But I had to close the curtains behind me.
Why?
Sunshine. You guys have heard, you've heard of sunshine in Vancouver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Well, TV, it's a little backlit, so sorry if it doesn't live up to the expectations. But I do have some sunscreen here. I've got sunglasses. I'm ready to go. It's 8:00 in the morning here, by the way. Time change.
Yes.
And I should mention this, that as much as I love the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and I'm trying hard to keep tabs on them, but this is a family vacation, the early games, like today's it's a 1:00 start here in Hawaii, and then the second game is at 1:30. So that's Prime Beach time. I may not get all of the viewing in. And like last night, the Oilers and the Kings, overtime ended as we were sitting down to dinner at 7:00 here in Hawaii. So
I like that.
Yeah.
I like it, especially as I get older. How much do you think Alex Edler and Troy Stecher, how much do you think they miss playing for the Canucks right now?
Not an awful lot, because if they were playing for the Canucks, they'd probably be here in Hawaii with me.
That's right.
Look, the Troy Stecher story is great. Like, I'm really happy for him. This guy's playing for a contract again. And let's be honest, like, he was picked up for a 7th-round draft choice. He was depth. He couldn't get into the Kings lineup with a whole bunch of injuries down the stretch, and even start the playoffs, he was a healthy scratch. And so this is a little bit of a redemption story for Troy from Richmond, and everybody in Vancouver loves Troy Stecher, but I'm not sure that the National Hockey League views Troy Stecher that same way. So this is great for him. And it's not just about scoring goals. The goals have been huge, and the Kings now with the lead, but it's just proving that there's still game there for a guy who's always had to battle and scratch and claw to prove himself time and time again. And look, if your contract's up, no better proving ground than the playoffs to get attention for yourself. So feel good for Troy Stecher. And did that series take a turn last night to put the Oilers on the ropes now going back to Los Angeles? I'm not sure that the series is over, but that's not a hole that the Los Angeles or that the Edmonton Oilers want to be in, facing elimination on the road tomorrow night.
I'll put you on the spot. This is a deep dive, but Louis Domingue has been a playoff hero for Pittsburgh. What do you remember about him and his short stint? I think it was one game with the Canucks a few years back.
Yeah, and I was there. It was in Columbus. It was the back-to-backs. They had played in Toronto the night before. Jacob Markstrom was injured. Dr. Demko had sort of taken over that number one role, but it was 4 games and 6 nights on a road trip that started in Montreal. The trade deadline went to Ottawa, to Toronto, and then Travis Green elected to go with Louis Domingue on the back-to-backs, 4 and 6 nights. And the Canucks had a lead into the third period, and then Domingue melted down. The team melted down. They took some penalties and ended up losing to the Columbus Blue Jackets. So it was a disappointing way to end the road trip. And that was it as far as Louis Domingue was concerned. I mean, after that, it was just him baking pies in the bubble in Edmonton to gain some notoriety and, I guess, to kill some time as well. So I love a good story at this time of the year. And, Donnie, one of the things that really has jumped out to me in this opening round, and, I mean, storylines abound, but is just how many, the sheer volume of goaltenders that we have seen in the first round, whether due to injury or ineffectiveness or the fact that these teams that run tandems during the regular season they feel comfortable with either guy in net. So I think I saw that they 26 goaltenders already in the first round here in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Jeff, the Canucks are going to have the 15th overall pick in the draft. When you look at what's in Abbotsford, the cupboards, prospects, everyone talks, they need a defenseman after Rathbone. It's just a big drop-off. Center ice, there wasn't a young centerman in Abbotsford. What would you like to see them take at 15?
I'm a true believer in best player available, Rick. When you look at the Vancouver Canucks, they just need more. They need more of everything, and I don't think they can get specific, targeting the right side of the defense, because whoever they get at 15, this is going to be a good test case. So many of the first rounders of late, and even second rounder like Nils Höglander, have bypassed the minors. I think the player that they're going to select at 15, if in fact they hold on to that pick, I guess there's a possibility they could trade down and try to accumulate more assets. But if they stay at 15, you're looking at a player that's going to be a couple of years away. And I think this is going to be a test case for this new management group to bring this player through the minor league system, to draft, to develop, to groom, and get that player ready for the National Hockey League. And so many of the other players that they've drafted in the first round lately have been able to bypass the minors just because of where the Canucks were as an organization. So, I think history shows, and I saw a lot of this yesterday online, people pointing out, past 15th overall picks, whether it was JT Miller or Cole Caulfield, there are good players available there. But every draft year is different. And so just pointing to guys that have gone 15th in the past doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get a blue chipper in that spot. But Patrick Alvin's got a scouting background. We know that. And so really going to be interesting to see with the changes that they've made to their scouting department here of late as they have their scouting meetings. Now they know. And I don't think anybody really thought that the Vancouver Canucks were going to win the draft lottery anyway, did they?
No, not a chance. Donnie and I talked. Sven Berchi signed in Switzerland today, Jeff. I remember you did a story on him for TSN. There's a high pick. It just didn't happen for him. And, everyone wants to go high in the draft, but that doesn't mean success. You got to still play. But he was such a good character guy, Jeff. When you look at Berchi and his time in Vancouver, what do you think of?
Yeah, I got all the time in the world for Sven Berchi. Super guy. Yeah, it didn't work out as he, I'm sure, hoped when he was taken where he was in the draft. I remember being in Vegas the night that he got hit in the head, and that started that downward spiral of the concussions. And boy, was he open as he battled through the recovery stage and tried to get back in there. And I remember he played a game in Denver at the start of a road trip, and he had been off for months and got back and played one game, and then they had to send him home off the road, sort of like what Tucker Pullman went through earlier this year, where he, was out for a while, came back, and just wasn't ready. And, it's unfortunate. I'm glad that Sven feels confident that there's still hockey left in him. And I think he wanted to go out on his own terms in the National Hockey League. So I was glad that he got a game, at least with Vegas this season, but I don't think he sort of relished the idea of being a career minor leaguer at this stage. So why not go back to the homeland and make some good money over there and get a chance to be a top-line guy and produce offense and do what he loves to do, and hopefully can continue to have fun playing the game of hockey, because ultimately that's what it's supposed to be. I know it's a business and it's a living for these guys, but at the end of the day, if you're not having fun, what's the point in playing? So hopefully he can rediscover his joy of the game of hockey over in Switzerland.
And Jeff, one more. It's been a week plus since Jim Rutherford's infamous or famous zone exit press conference. But since then, Bruce Boudreau has been in on a meeting or two with the Canucks regarding players. So that's a good sign for him when it comes to, or for Canuck fans when it comes to him coming back. What do you believe when it comes to the head coaching position right now?
My gut's always told me that he is going to be back as the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks, but I will say that every day that goes by here, obviously he built this June 1st deadline into his deal, and that gives him this opportunity to step back and look around. And, we see the Islanders' job open up, although I can't imagine that Bruce Boudreau would be a candidate for the New York Islanders if this Canucks management group thought that he was a little too loose. What would Lou Lamoriello think of Bruce Boudreau and the way that he likes to play and coach? So I don't think that he's necessarily a fit for that opening, but man, the minute that Barry Trotz is on the market, that's going to get the attention of a lot of teams around the National Hockey League. I would think the Vancouver Canucks as well. The one thing for Bruce Boudreau, and we know that there is a gamble here. There's a risk for both sides, but Boudreau has said repeatedly how much he missed being out of the game, that he hated it last year at playoff time when he was on the sidelines and all these other teams were playing, and Obviously, that's the situation again here, but at least he does have a job. He knows, though, that it's the bird in the hand situation, and so he knows with one phone call that he can be back as the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks. If he is waiting for some opportunity to open up that maybe isn't open right now, he runs the risk of waiting too long. And I think of a guy like Rick Tocchet. Like when Rick Tocchet stepped away from Arizona last year, I can't imagine that he thought he would be out of the coaching game. Now, he's found a home on television, and that's fine. And I'm sure Bruce Boudreau could go back to working for the NHL Network anytime he wanted. I mean, we know the charisma and the personality that's there. But again, he wants to be in the fight. He wants to be behind a National Hockey League bench. So my hunch is, when all is said and done and the dust settles, that he will be back for another season with the Vancouver Canucks. But every day that it goes on here is a day longer than I thought that he might take to trigger that clause to make sure that he's back and coaching for the Canucks next season.
Go do some snorkeling. Thanks for this, Jeff.
All right, guys. Thanks.